recorded, but all they see is me and the presentation. If statements. If statements are the beginning of computers being intelligent. If statements allow your computer program to branch or go in different directions based on conditions experienced within the program, which one could define as the beginning of intelligence. The beginning of intelligence is being able to make different decisions based on different decisions. For example, this morning, brutally cold, I was able to make a decision to wear warmer clothes so that I could be more comfortable. That was very intelligent, and using my intelligence to make decisions based on conditions is pretty darn cool, and computer programs can do that too with if statements. By the way, given enough conditionals, putting those conditions together, that's where you get artificial intelligence. That's where you can set it up so that a computer program could at least tie. It will never lose a game of tic-tac-toe if you follow a certain set of if conditions. If the middle box is clear, pick it first. If there's no way for the other person to win, use this square. If they are about to win, block this square. And all those decisions can prevent you from ever losing a game of tic-tac-toe. And if you program those conditions into the computer, you can prevent the computer from ever losing. A classic data structures question. There's a min-max algorithm too that goes with that is pretty darn cool. I had to do that in my data structures class. When I was taking it, although the Marquette data structures class, the 3 versions that we've had, none of them have done that classic problem. Darn. What else you can do with conditionals is up to you. Conditionals could be the end of the world as we know it, and you would not feel fine. If you string enough conditionals together, you create artificial intelligences that can do all kinds of crazy things. It could literally be the end of the world if you mess up your if statements and you create a super smart artificial intelligence that decides that the earth is better off without humans. So be careful what you program, people. The syntax of an if statement should look familiar, and we can go all the way back to our friend Scratch. When we programmed in Scratch, or if you used MIT 2 App Inventor, or even the block version of the program we used last year, which was App Lab, the way conditionals were structured is they had an if statement, and then they had a conditionals, and they put the conditionals in a little bracket to kind of symbolize true, false, 2 different paths. And you would put in some kind of conditional like score, and if in our language it would be equals 5. If that score equals 5, then use the code inside the mouth that kind of grows open. If not, just skip right over it. Pass over that code. Don't run it. For this morning's example, for me, if the temperature is below 50 degrees or maybe 40 degrees, so if temp less than 40, there's a conditional there that I put on my coat and my hat, that kind of things. Those would only run though when it's below 40 degrees. If it's above or 40 degrees or above, then I don't need my coat, right? So those conditionals make you intelligent, and those conditionals make your program intelligent. In most C-based languages, Python looks a little different. It uses a colon and a return that's tabbed over. You have this if statement with the parentheses, and then you have the open block and close block curly braces. Whatever is in that open block to close block, that's what is going to be run as code for the conditional if it's true. If it's false again, it just passes over. We're going to learn tomorrow and Thursday about how you can use else statements, so you can do one or the other, and else if statements, where you could do multiple paths. So there's more to the if statement, more to come, so to speak. But for today, just getting the simple if run this block of code is what we're shooting for today. The condition that you put in those parentheses has to be in the format of a Boolean expression, which is from yesterday's lesson. That's that logical, true or false. That since there's only two possible states, run this block of code or don't run this block of code, the if conditional has to be formatted in that Boolean expression. So we did that yesterday where we wrote those if num is greater than 0, if num is less than 0. Those statements are examples of Boolean expressions that we could now pack into the conditional. So that's where we started yesterday, and that's where we're going for today. If you look at this block of code here, it says Boolean is Monday gets false. Boolean is Tuesday gets true. And I use what's called the parallel if structure here, where I first say if is Monday, I'll put that code. If is Tuesday, I'll put that code. This is a bit of a shortcut that some coders use that I wanted to share in Java that we didn't do in JavaScript, but it would have worked in JavaScript. If I just put a Boolean expression in there, something that is going to be either true or false, I don't have to put in an equals equals. I could write is Monday equals equals true and get the same results as just saying is Monday. So you can put just the Boolean there. You can also override Boolean in some situations. You want to do that where you would just say if true, and it's just a placeholder then, and you're going to add the conditional later. You can do that for testing purposes. For example, if you want to see what it will output and you're not sure what's causing the problem, you can just override the Boolean and put is true or is false. If false, and then that code will never run. See if your program works. People do that for debugging. The while true loop, which we'll get to next week, is also classic in like robotics. In other words, it's a loop that repeats forever. It's an infinite loop. In Scratch, we had a block called forever that will run as long as the program is executing from that point forward. A while true loop forms that same purpose. And we just say while and then put in parentheses true, and it will run forever. Now I have a challenge where I'm going to ask people to throw down into the chat window, but don't hit return yet. So I'm going to do that classic waterfall challenge where I'm going to ask everyone to wake up. I know some people are spacing me out, or I'm nervous. I shouldn't say that. I'm nervous. Some people are spacing me out and just kind of half listening. But now I'm going to ask you to actually engage here and be focused. I have some code on this screen. And I'm going to ask you to put, would this program output A, B, C, D, or E? But don't hit return yet. Put it in the chat window, but don't hit return. Just study the code, and then we're all going to hit return at the same time in a little bit when I say, everyone, hit return. So you're going to type A, B, and C and waterfall style in just a little bit, and I'm going to turn in attendance while we're doing that. I see Joseph is here. Good. Katie is here. Seneca is here. Merrick. I don't see Merrick. Ricky is here. Okay. The only person I'm missing is Merrick. Everyone else, Merrick, are you here? Okay. All right, a few more seconds to put in the A, B, C, D, or E. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, waterfall. Throw in your answer, hit return. Oh, I love watching that. That's so fun. All right, let's go over the answer and how what I got. So it's going to first set a Boolean is Monday to true. Is Monday gets true. Boolean is Tuesday gets true. So we know that both are true. Automatically is going to be inputted or outputted onto the console. Today is, and I did kind of exaggerate the spaces there, but today is, and it's a print rather than a print line. So this is going to be on a line and it's going to just keep going. So the cursor is kind of blinking right here, waiting for more output. Is Monday is true. So this block of code is going to execute. So since is Monday is true, it's going to system out Monday, and then you'll notice there is kind of a little space there. So it's going to throw out Monday, and then it's going to go to the next line of code, and it's going to say is Tuesday. Well, it turns out is Tuesday is also true. So it's going to system out, it still hasn't gone to another line, the word Tuesday with a space. So it's going to say is Tuesday, and again, it's not going to a new line. Then it's going to system out automatically, no matter what the conditionals would have said, it's going to system out a period and thanks, which by the way is B. So the correct answer was B, which is what most people threw down. So good job for you threw down, if you threw down a B, and if you didn't throw down a B, thank you for participating. It's really hard in 2020. I know the challenge and the struggle is real. A common structure in if statements that we're eventually going to learn has some side effects, unwanted side effects, is that you can put ifs in parallel, like we did there. We said if is Monday, if is Tuesday. I could have added if is Tuesday equals true, and it would have been the same exact code. It would have functioned the exact same way. But that's the parallel if structure. The overall, people try to avoid the parallel if structure if they can. Sometimes it's unavoidable. The logic requires you to do parallel ifs, but it does get hard to debug, and it does create logic errors, which are the hardest to debug, where you get results different than you expected, but your code compiles. So you get results you don't want. It's not accurate results, yet the code is working and the compiler is not giving you any errors, and you have to dive into the code and try to figure out how it's behaving, often going line by line, figuring things out and changing values, and it can get really challenging. Also, you can step on top of each other. So for example, with this example, score gets 5, and then if score equals 7, you have something happen. If score is less than 7, something happens. If score is equal to 10, something important happens, and it could add a bit of confusion as to what the code is doing and how that's working. So it can get really nasty and ugly. Well, today I have a big challenge for everyone. I am going to ask you to try something new. This 2020, I admit it. I know it's throwing you off for a loop. Believe it or not, this class has 20 students, 2 TAs, 21 students and 2 TAs, and we have 8 incompletes, which is like, I've never had that many incompletes in an AP class or an intro class. It's just ridiculous how many people are struggling in 2020. It's just a terrible, tough time. And I'm trying to provide as many resources as I can to try to help you get through this. I also am going to encourage you again, I did yesterday too, but I want to just reiterate the message again today, that if this is not a good time for you to be taking a course at this level, this is a college level course, and I need to teach it at a college level. Unlike other classes where you can simplify it and say, oh, it's 2020, take it easy on people. We can't do that with this course because you get college credit for the course, and you have to get to certain knowledge, certain level, and I just have to teach it at that level. Same with a lot of the AP classes. They're in that same bind where we just have to get through this material and you have to get it. this might not be a good time for you to take it. No matter where you are, if you're a junior, you can take it next year. If you're a senior, you can take it in college if you're going that direction. So please, 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 if this is not a good time for a really challenging AP course, email me and I will forward your email to your counselor and we'll look at options for you. There are all kinds of options, from taking it pass-fail to putting in a study hall to putting in a release for home. There's just a lot of options out there in 2020. If this just isn't the right time, and you can still take it in the future. And you can do that regardless. So if you fail the class, you can take it again too. But the 8 incompletes is like blowing my mind that there's that many. And it is not just this class though, by the way. All the teachers are really concerned. So, and this is really hard to learn this way. In that spirit, I've added another resource that I've been experimenting with, but now I'm just going to add. And what I'm going to ask everyone to do is use this CS Awesome site. So just give me a second. Sorry, I forgot to do this before class starts. I'm going to fire up GoGuardian so that I can open it for you automatically, and you'll be able to log in to this GoGuardian site and create a user. I've created a username and given you a generic password, and I'm going to urge you to mess with your account, get it all working, etc., etc. So I'm going to, if you have GoGuardian, I'm sending you there. If you don't, if I can't see your computer via GoGuardian, I put the link into the Meet, and I am asking you all to, did that work? Oh, there it goes. It's just really slow this morning. Wow. Usually when I click it, it goes right away. And I'm watching your screens, and it was like really, there's really a lag today. I don't know if the internet's struggling or what. Wow. That is weird. I'm going to try it again. I don't know if that's going to work. Anyway, that is just weird. Okay, welcome to 2020, right? So what you're going to do is you are going to use your username that I've set up for you all. Oh, first, when you get into the site, let me do a little demo. You are going to need to create an account. And what you'll need to do, and there's a little CS Awesome. Oh, there's also a person. Let's use that person. If you click on that person, you should be able to log in when you click on that person. And the way you log in is from that form yesterday. I took your first name, and all I did is add capital BHS, and then your first name, which would start capital. So I pick on Katie. BHS Katie is your username. And then your password is APCSA. Everyone's password is APCSA. There are 2 exceptions because we have 2 Andrews. There's an Andrew B and an Andrew T. Hopefully you two can figure out who's who. But then if it asks for the class, which I'm not sure if it's going to, our class is BHS 2020-2021. What's really nice about this textbook is it gives you another resource to work from. And I'm just going to experiment with it. I'm going to hopefully get your feedback on whether you find it helpful. It just lets you, there's code right embedded into it. You can write the Java. It is the exact AP sequence that I teach. It's the AP sequence that most teachers are now teaching. So their Unit 3 is the exact as my Unit 3. Their Topic 2, the if statement, is my Topic 2, the if statement. So we are literally both of us, this textbook and me, follow the exact AP sequence. So it's just a really helpful resource because sometimes it's hard to learn this way. This way is far from optimal for most people. Some people love online learning. I admit I like being safe, and I'm thrilled that they let me be at home, and I'm glad you're all home and safe. But this way of learning for me stinks. I really miss all of you. I miss talking to you. I obviously care and like all of you, and it's really stinks for me not to like see you every day. This is just the way it is, though. This tool will hopefully help, and will be another resource you can use. I am going to talk for just a few more minutes, and then I'm actually going to free you to do an assignment. But I'm going to stay online and offer help and support and that kind of thing. And then I'm going to ask that you log off when you have this working, but just wait a little bit. I have just a little more I want to go over, and then I'm going to free you. What I'm going to ask you to do today is not bad. So I'm going to ask you to go through the actual assignment in 3.2, which is topic 3, which is conditionals, and topic 2, which is if statements. Read the activity, and then at the bottom, you'll notice there's a replet activity called Magic 8 Ball. And what Magic 8 Ball is all about is that you are going to do the classic, like the way an 8 ball works. So you just enter any random question. It actually doesn't matter what the user enters. That never, ever plays a role. Just like with a Magic 8 Ball, they're typing a question, it's irrelevant. You will never use string question for anything. But what you're going to do is you're going to generate a random number 1 through 8. Feel free to look back at those lessons on how to do that. There's even a nice spreadsheet where we made a lot of random numbers. And you're going to write in 8 parallel if statements. So if I would make my random number like n. If n equals 1, then return those nice generic Magic 8 Ball statements like probably so, maybe, definitely not, could be. All those weird Magic 8 Ball statements, you're just going to generate 8 of them, and they're just going to randomly occur. And you're going to make that program. Once you make that program, what I'm going to ask you to do is turn in the Google form, which is in Google Classroom, and it's called the Magic 8 Ball form. And I'm going to ask you to fill in the Magic 8 Ball form and let me know if you got that done and if you got 8 if statements. And that's it. Believe it or not, that's all I've got for you today. Not bad. But wait, there's one more important thing. I'm going to, well, I'll record this because maybe Merrick will want to see it, or you'll want to refresh and see it later. What I am going to add.
I'm right here, so.
Oh, Merrick, you made it. Good, good. I'll change the attendance. All right, here is the big thing. Tomorrow is controversial among high school teachers. It's not an understatement to say some of us are kind of flipping out, because what was said in the letter that your families got, that all families got, is that Wednesdays are asynchronous, which means there aren't in-person lessons on Wednesday, and we are expected to plan about an hour to an hour and a half of instruction for each of our students that they turn in. And we use that turning in of an assignment as the thing. Many teachers have been given the permission to just teach and take attendance the traditional ways. So each teacher is going to make their own decision how they're handling asynchronous Wednesday. And I'm doing it differently for my intro classes. But for my AP class, what I'm going to do is I am going to record the lecture just like I normally do. And I am going to be available to you from, well, actually anytime I'm available to you, but I'm going to be especially conscientious to be available to you from 8 to 9 tomorrow. And I beg people who are struggling turning things in, to come see me, log into the Meet, and we'll talk about things. And I'll try to help you get through things, maybe make some decisions, whatever I can do. But tomorrow between 8 and 9, there will not be a lecture I will be given. It will be in Google Classroom though. So we are doing else statements. So tomorrow there is an else statement lesson. I will have it inside of Google Classroom. I will also have a Google form that goes with the lesson. Attendance will be taken based on completing that form and watching my lecture. So the lecture is going to be just like normal. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be a slide deck, and I'm going to talk over the slide deck, only none of you are going to be there. And I'm going to ask that you still do that tomorrow. And so we are doing asynchronous Wednesday, but you're still going to have a lesson. You're still going to have an assignment and a thing to do tomorrow. So that's the way I'm handling it for this class. I also beg you to take advantage, if other teachers are giving you less work tomorrow or whatever, to get caught up in Java or email me with a decision on Java. For some of you, there are a couple of you who have not turned in anything. And I just don't know at this point in the course how you are going to pass when you've turned in maybe one thing or haven't turned stuff in. This just isn't the right time for you. This is a pandemic, and it just isn't the time for you to take Java. You can take it again later. I don't hold it against you. I don't think you're bad people. You all worked hard to get to this point. This just might not be the right time. And if it's not the right time for Java, that's okay. So here's what I'm going to stop the recording right there.